Köszönöm.
Well, thank you. Esteemed Vice President, esteemed American friends, esteemed celebrating crowd, I would like to warmly and respectfully greet the Vice President of the United States of America. Welcome to Budapest, Mr. Vice President. I thank you all for accepting our invitation and for celebrating together with us the Day of Hungarian-American Friendship. There is a saying in Hungary which goes like this: a man is best characterized by his friends. We are very happy and we are very grateful to the divine powers that be that we have such an important man as our friend. And the eagle has landed in Hungary, as they say, and the ancient Hungarian bird, the turul bird, welcomes the eagle here in Hungary. I think we have not ever had in our history such a joint day. This is not a simple diplomatic event. This is a meeting point, if you wish, of the struggles and the hopes of the two peoples, the golden era of Hungarian-American relations, and the political and business outcome of this relationship is not a cause, but is a consequence. The basis of Hungarian-American friendship is civilizational and is spiritual in nature. Two freedom-loving people meet here today. Who would love their freedom better, more than the Americans? The United States of America is a country born in a freedom fight. They're fighting a globalist empire to be free. They built themselves a huge country. They needed only, 250 years to build this country. So may the United States of America be happy and celebrate on their 250th anniversary. And who would love freedom more than Hungarians? There is no other nation in Europe which has had more empires that wanted to occupy them than the Hungarians. Every time someone wanted to oppress us, we stood up with the sword, with bloodshed, sometimes with enduring work, but we fought against every oppressing empire. We didn't win every freedom fight of ours. Our 1,100 years of history is testament to the fact that our struggle was never in vain. The conquerors are no longer there, and we prevail. We are still here. We're still alive. We are alive, we are prospering, and everything is given to make us the winners of the next century. And we believe that this is going to be the century of Hungarians. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the distance between America and Hungary is huge. It's an ocean that separates us. And despite this, the freedom struggles of the two nations bind us together. In the American War of Independence, Mihály Kovács was a hussar officer who organized the cavalry of the Continental Army. Lajos Kossuth was celebrated in America. After World War I, our country was occupied by looting countries. Harry Hill Benthold, American general, defended the Hungarian National Museum and thereby made it possible for us to keep our treasures and for the treasures to be not stolen. The general statue is still there at Freedom Square in Hungary. And we also respect Ronald Reagan as a hero, because he decided that he's going to win the Cold War and that he's going to liberate the peoples of Europe from the Soviet occupation. And not only did he decide, but he launched this effort. And he allowed us to return to the freedom-loving peoples. Praise be to Ronald Reagan. Esteemed Mr. Vice President, Bartók, Teller, Neumann, Kertész, Cukor, Pulitzer, and all the others are people who desired freedom, so they found a home in the new world. They became successful in your country and brought fame to their new and their old country alike. And I personally also remember quite well the decisive role of President Bush in allowing us to end communism and to send home the Soviet soldiers. In 1989, he not only visited Budapest, but he also made it a condition that the reburial of the victims of 1956 had to be organized, and that led us to the reinstatement of democracy and freedom in Hungary. We thank him for that. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Americans and Hungarians, their friendship has endured even in those difficult years when American Democrats wanted to turn the 1,000-year-old Christian Hungary into a leftist progressive country. However, one cannot fight the laws of physics. Freedom-loving people cannot be converted and to liberalist ideologies. The same thing will happen always. We will still be here and they are nowhere. And the Hungarian-American friendship is shining again in its old glory. Distinguished Hungarian and American patriots, we are grateful to President Donald Trump for this pivot. He was the one who ended the power of globalist forces driven by ideologies and announced the era of strong nations. He was the one who turned on the power of the progressive elite, who called all the patriots of the world to arms by saying it is not a sin to be patriotic, it's a virtue. The president has shown that patriotic policy is also successful, can be successful government practice. During his presidency, America has again placed its own interest in the first place and has given back the honor of national politics. His economic patriotism has protected jobs, brought industry back home, and has proven that globalization is not an end in itself. He ended illegal migration. He dusted off the old act. Without borders, there is no country. Without sovereignty, there is no freedom. We have every right and every reason to send our best heartfelt wishes to the American president and wish him a lot of success. The success of President Trump also is sending a message to Europe that national interest will not isolate but will reinforce. A nation has shared objectives: to be strong, to be independent, to remain free. We will not allow others to decide on our fate. We will implement our own plans. Our government has been waiting for this moment since 2010, and it was excruciatingly difficult to fight the Brussels and Washingtonian progressives. Your victory, Mr. Vice President, was almost like a resuscitation, and we actually seized the opportunity. While Europe was still reeling from the result, we already placed down the basics, the foundations of our cooperation. In politics, you not only need to be courageous, but you also need to be good in timing. And one needs to also know how to be hurt. You don't have to be hurt when you have a reason, but you have to be hurt when it's worth. We are visa-free to travel to America. We are cooperating in economy, in defense, in high-tech, in innovation. We have launched joint programs in energy. And it's so simple. Two sovereign nations are thinking and working together to make this a world a better place for our people. And the basis for this is provided by our love for freedom. My dear friends, beside the president, there is also somebody without whom we could not be standing here today. This man is actually and soon going to be standing here next to me. It is indeed Vice President Vance. In his person, we have secured a very special friend. It is difficult to understand us Hungarians. It is not only about knowledge, you also need patience with us Hungarians, because we are an ancient nation, and similarly to Americans, we also consider ourselves to be exceptional. There's a lot of things we know, and we have huge loads of experience. We consider it only natural that everybody should understand what is evident to us. Therefore, we don't pay too much attention to actually making others understand us. If they don't understand us, all the worse for them. Furthermore, we also insist on our mistakes. We are insistent that it is easy to make friendship with perfect people. If we are not good for somebody the way we are, well, it's their loss. So it is not easy to be friends with us Hungarians. But Vice President Vance is actually doing quite well, because he understands the old Christian prayer, don't look at our sins, look at the fate of the church. And this is especially true for us Hungarians. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Vice President Vance already wrote how progressive liberalism is turning its back on the problems of simple people when it was not PC to talk about it. He wrote his book that even if there is this false social sensitivity, in the end, the left will always attack its own nation. And we know that. We've been there. We've done that. But there's also a liberating political thesis that we know from him. He once came to Europe, and as one of the Westerners among the Europeans, he said the following: Europe is facing dangers from within. Europe is not going to be defeated by an external enemy, but by an internal one. And with this, he wrote history. He liberated in Europe the intellectual and political forces that were wearing and suffering from the muzzle of political correctness. So viva, viva, viva.
And he is in possession of fearful knowledge, or rather a life instinct. From a great distance, he notices if foreigners, aliens, want to intervene into elections, and that is why he leads the commission investigating into these interventions, because interventions are made here and elsewhere. We have seen that in the United States. We pay attention too, and if we add up what we have seen, then that might not be a nice image on the Ukrainians. Mr. Vice President couldn't have come to the better place, and I recommend everyone keep their hands off Hungary. Dear friends, the other idea of Mr. Vice President is that progressive notions hogtie people. They hold back performance. They attack the values that once made our nations great. He started organizing the intellectual homeland background, which is capable to place the renewal of the United States on a stable foundation. That is how we Hungarians entered the picture. We ourselves also fought with our progressive liberals who held back the performance of Hungarians. Our solutions are also similar: God's family, homeland, and of course work, labor. This is the foundation of our friendship. Mr. Vice President, therefore it is dignified and justified that we can celebrate the Day of Hungarian-American Friendship in your presence. My friends, for the Americans and Hungarians who are worried about the future of Western civilization, they share a problem in common, and that problem is called Brussels. The progressive forces of the Western world have lost two important battles. First, they lost in Hungary, which opened the way for the other Central European countries. Then they received a massive blow. They lost overseas thanks to President Trump, Vice President Vance, the Republican Party, and the American people. They have drawn back from there. They have drawn back from there, and they have established themselves in Brussels. They have received countless blows, yet their power remains fearful. They are capable of preventing Europe from returning to the path of common sense and traditional values. Progressive ideologies keep the originally Christian foundation, European Union, tied up. Brussels calls for gender ideology, woke, and migration, and they wish to make that the organizing force of Europe. They are persecuting their political opponents. They use the institutions of the European Union to silence everyone who endangers their power. There are ridiculous and openly unlawful procedures against the patriots. There are persecutions by intelligence services, and there's impotent governance. The continent slowly but surely will get crippled. Still, they want to continue the war in Ukraine. They say that they will support the Ukrainians till the very end. They don't even make a secret of it. Their dream is to send their own young to the Eastern Front under the flags of the European Union. Now, when the energy supply of the world is about to collapse, instead of peace, they introduce new and new sanctions. This is more than just being irresponsible. It is equal to suicide. If this continues, first, the energy prices will skyrocket, and after that, the European reserves will be depleted. When the Ukrainians blew up the Nordic stream, they shut a blind eye. And now that the Ukrainians have imposed an oil blockade on Hungary, Brussels does not represent us, but is in favor of the Ukrainians. And we should have no doubts they wish to make the attempted attack against the Turkic stream as ridiculous. We are being sanctioned because alone in Europe, we pointed out the self-destructive policies of Europe and the games played by the Ukrainians. We suffer €1 million a day in sanctions and penalties because we protect our borders. There are procedures against us for protecting our children from gender ideology. We are under daily attack because we follow the rules of common sense in economy and commerce. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the years ahead of us will not be easy. Europe is threatened in parallel by a financial and energy crisis. If Europe does not change, they will be losers of both crises. And no matter what a wonderful heritage we have, the Western world will tumble down in history, and therefore we freedom-loving Americans and Hungarians have to join forces. We must save Western civilization, and for that we must fight the progressives in Brussels. We must close the Russian-Ukrainian world, and we must resolve the energy crisis. Fellow Hungarian countrymen, we Hungarians for that must perform a task that no one else can do instead of us. On Sunday there will be elections in Hungary, and these elections are not only about us. At these elections, it is a future and a fate, a destiny that we choose for ourselves. This election is about what path we wish to continue on. One path leads to a world where we lose our independence, where we are torn from our friends, and where eventually we shall become insignificant, where they would order us to take up arms, send soldiers to the war, and send money to Ukraine. But there is another path. The other path is the path of freedom, the path of a world where we can stand up as a pride nation in our place set out in destiny, where we can build the 21st century Hungary successfully and freely, where we can do whatever we want, provide support for families, freedom for Hungarians, and peace for Hungary. And for that reason, from here, I ask you, I implore you that we stand up for freedom, we stand up for our nation, we stand up for our future, we stand up for the peace and security of Hungary, because if we do not do so, no one will do that instead of us. But if we do it, and if we prevail, then, my friends, we shall be capable of wonderful things. It shall be from here, Hungary, that the Reconquest of Europe will start, which will put in power new patriotic governments, and the power will be established, which after Washington, D.C. will change Brussels, and from the headquarters of the progressives will turn it into a bastion of patriots. God bless Hungary. God bless the United States.